people think they're like really unique when they're like, oh, I'm gonna fade Saquon this year, and that's kind of like the popular sentiment. They're like, oh, he's not gonna be ready for this and that and this and that and this and that, and I'm like, okay, like bro, I just hate when people think that they're unique in an opinion, but it's really not unique at all, and then they act like they're special because they have this unique opinion, but it's really not. Anyways, let's get into the Saquon breakdown. Um, the Giants' offensive line this year is dead last, 32 out of 32 going into the year per PFF, and this is from Ian Hardtits. Uh, of the top five O lines last year, four top 24 running backs were produced, and of the bottom five lines last year, four top 24 backs were produced. So I mean, like obviously you want good backs and good teams for touchdowns, right? I mean, that's what the upside's at. It's touchdowns. If you score a bunch of touchdowns, if you have an outlier performance there, you can you can win some leagues. You know what I'm saying? But it also doesn't hurt to be on a really bad O line because you're gonna get a bunch of dump offs. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Saquon Barkley is the third highest scorer in fantasy points per game in NFL history. NFL history, he's the third highest scorer in terms of fantasy points per game. Um, there is a problem. He has been significantly worse with Daniel Jones as the quarterback, but I believe that's largely circumstantial, given that given his rookie season and being fully healthy and all that shit. But speaking of his rookie season, he is the RB1 overall with 121 targets, 91 catches, and 721 yards through the air, and 5 yards per carry and 1,300 yards on the ground. He had 14 catches in week 2, and he had 3 straight games of 9 catches and double-digit targets from week 6 through 8. So he was an absolute monster, RB1 overall, weeks 1 through 17, just an absolute monster in every phase of the game. Just perfect. The perfect running back, right? In 2019, he sprained his ankle and misses time, and he has roughly 1,000 yards and 12 complete games on the ground on 4.6 yards per carry. He was RB7 in points per game, and he had 4 receptions per game, roughly, which was the worst pace than 2018. But once again, the sample was a little bit smaller. And in 2020, he tears his ACL, and now he has some concerns for his week 1 health, according to some people, according to who you ask. My opinion, he's still a tier 2 running back. I mean, I think, like, it depends where you want to put CMC and Devin Cook at, because, like, are they tier 1 and 2? Are they both tier 1? But they're clearly the top 2 running backs right now this year. But after that, you can draft Saquon. I mean, guys like Zeke Elliott have a case. I really like Zeke. Guys like Derrick Henry have a case, I guess. Um, but I mean, Saquon. I mean, we've seen him be the RB1 overall. That isn't in the range of outcomes of a Derrick Henry. I mean, no matter what you say, he cannot be RB1 overall in PPR, full PPR. Um, it's gonna be hard for a guy like Jonathan Taylor to get there, given his lack of like. Saquon just has an elite ceiling in terms of touches and receptions. Like, this guy could catch 100 passes, and if he does that, he's gonna have 800 yards through the air, bunch of touchdowns. Like, he's just a stud in every phase of the game, and um, I draft him over Alvin Kamara. I probably draft him over Jonathan Taylor. He's my RB3 or 4 right now probably, and I don't know how. I don't know how to feel about him missing time. What am I saying? I don't know how I feel about his availability because I don't know enough. I've seen arguments saying that he'll be fine, arguments saying that he'll struggle, but all I know is he's one of three running backs in the NFL, maybe 4 if you count Zeke, that I could see being RB1 overall this year, and I wouldn't bat an eye. You know, it's him, CMC, and Dalvin Cook. They could have 400 touches. I mean, that's realistic, and like it's not likely, but this guy could have 100 catches. He could have 300 carries. Like it's all possible for Saquon, and especially with Kenny Galladay coming in and Kadarius Toney and Dan Jones getting better, I'm really optimistic for him. So RB3 4. I mean, depending on where you rank him and Zeke, I preferred him to Derrick Henry. I prefer him to a lot of guys. I'm a little bit higher on Saquon than most, and I think for good reason. So go ahead and draft Saquon. I mean, he's been nothing but elite, and he's probably gonna be nothing but elite this year. And I wouldn't worry too much about the injury because like, I mean, who knows who knows who to ask. You know what I'm saying? If he was fully healthy, and he played last year, he'd probably be going with Cook and CMC. So it looks like you're getting a little bit of a discount via injury. So go ahead and draft Saquon, guys. I mean, it's not that hard. He's kind of like a talent and a very good one at that.